it once, though.
Right. Oh, boy. We're live now. You guys are in trouble now. Time to behave.
Damn.
I know the grandpa Steve-O, along with that great Smith. I'm making sure the little girl has gone.
Tractor sled. Hot bar tractor, the witch hunter coming up with full sharp blue. Does that mean squirrels here somewhere? They're still selling. They're still selling tickets for a few minutes. The split right now is $13.50. Somebody's gonna get $1,500 tonight. I'll bet you. Active duty or United States military. Please honor those who make a tremendous sacrifice. As we look towards Old Quarry on the last Corporal Ty Hart. Imagine how much that Craig does not want to have to listen to Slam and Sandy run her mouth about how much better she did than he. The limited edition board. So Tom Walker's made his way over to these lane. Got a green LED light, a green flag rolling out from
Welcome to Beer Money Pulling Team. Sit down, shut up, and hang on.
Famous pro saxophone wedding.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's our Wednesday night show, West Coast Pulling. Live tonight, up top here on the left hand of the screen, we got Mr. Brian Humphreys and Mr. Steve Henjum, Cascade Pullers up in up in Washington. Down in the lower left corner, the infamous Jason Gish, as always.
Not about infamous.
But the better Gish, the Godfather Gish, his dad Greg over in the right corner. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming pulls that Steve has up there in Washington this coming weekend, and a little bit of all three of these guys' history in pulling. Steve, why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about the pull you got coming up this weekend first?
We've got a show coming up here Friday night in Spokane. This is like our sixth season, I believe it is now. We've done the Spokane County Fair. We do Spokane on Friday night. Have a great turnout. This week right now, looking at the ticket sales and stuff, it looks like it's going to be a sellout crowd for all the reserve seating and everything. They've got they've sold a heck of a lot of tickets and stuff. We'll do Spokane Friday night, and then everybody's here, so we go up to Bonners Ferry on Saturday night, and that's up in North Idaho. We go up there now. This will be our third season going up there, and those little towns up in North Idaho, they just love coming out for an event like that. It's really, really great. It's been a lot of fun doing these things.
Now that Bonners Ferry is the one that got rained last year, wasn't it? That was really
Yes. Yeah, it rained in Bonners, and Delton Amos, the guy that is kind of the head guy up there, they put the track in, and then he said, "I'm going to go ahead and cover the track, Steve." Because he says, "I'm worried it's going to rain on it. It's going to be garbage." So they covered the track, and I think we had probably 4 to 5 inches of soup on each side of the track, but the track was it was a good track. And we got up there, and we were kind of hesitant about even unloading trucks because it was still raining. And it was kind of one of them last minute decisions. We decided, heck, let's go for it. The grandstands are full. These people are counting on us. So we pulled our trucks out, and everybody went and pulled, or did the best they could anyway, huh, Greg?
That's correct.
So they had a little incident there, and they were right in line to pull, but they had a little episode with the truck, couldn't get it to go, but they were right there in the mud with the rest of us. It was wonderful. The people loved it. The show went off without a hitch. We got done pulling. Had a full moon shining, and the stars were out. It was crazy, but it was a lot of fun.
Well,
go ahead, Jay.
Honestly, that kind of seems to be a common theme that we keep talking about, these little towns, man. It was literally pouring down rain. All our trucks are still loaded, and there's people sitting in the stands waiting for us to pull. We couldn't leave. We had to pull for them, So that's just the neat. Those little towns.
Our drivers meeting was cut kind of short because I didn't know what to do, and I'm thinking, like, golly, we got to do this. Look at those people over there. And I told everybody at the drivers meeting, I said, I'm not going to tell you guys you have to pull, but look at the grandstands. There's people counting on us to do it, so you guys make your own decision. Let's go pulling, and everybody come out, and we gave them a heck of a show.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, a lot of places we go, doesn't matter if it's up at you guys, Oregon, California, Nevada, all the little towns. They always pack the stands.
Mm-hmm.
Yerington, Jason and Greg got to see Yerington this year. Yerington, solid. And the fair, you can fit the fair in an 80 by 120 foot shop, it seems like.
And Yerington's in the middle. Yerington is the middle of nowhere.
Kind of like Tenasket, Jason.
Yes, a lot like Tenasket.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of the little towns that we get the biggest crowds and the biggest participation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
and the people in Bonners Ferry, the first year we did that up there, when we got through pulling, we invited everybody down for autograph signing and whatnot. It was so neat because I don't know if you could have put many more people down in the arena because there were people coming out of the woodwork, and they were so thankful that we were there.
Yeah.
It was really cool. So
Yeah.
we're going to go up there this weekend, and hopefully we get the same response and everything else, and I'm sure we will. They love it. They love it.
that's awesome.
The guys that show coming up there in Bonners almost didn't come off because there's a big fire just 7.5 miles northwest of Bonners there, and all the DNR and all those people come in and kind of took over in the fairgrounds area, and they had a meeting here this weekend, and the town did, and the pulling people, and they went to them and said, look, our community is counting on this, and we really want to go through with this and have a great show. And so those folks went out and found a new place to stage all their firefighting equipment and their firefighting people. So, that was quite an undertaking, let alone on the pulling side, but for those folks to go out and find a new place to
Did they,
you know, set up and
they actually moved their
yeah,
camp? Okay.
yeah, they were going to move their camp.
Delton told me that the commander, or the guy in charge of all the fire guys, he said that he was from a small town, and he said, I know how these little small towns, they rely on little events like this.
Right,
So,
right.
so everybody's looking forward to go up there playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty good.
Maybe Steve or Brian, if you want to go first, let's a little history into how you got into the pulling and how it all got started. A little history.
Sure. Well, I was, you know, I was a farmer, and I started getting interested in pulling mainly because of Steve. And I just went to a couple pulls, and I thought that looked like something fun to get involved in. And so just, you know, I was kind of a Ford guy, and back then Steve was the only Ford out there. You know, him and Moonlighter were battling Chevrolets and a Dodge or two here and there, Mopar here and there, and it's like, well, that'd be kind of fun, and so he kind of took a liking to me, and he kind of started teaching me, you know, different things. We became really good friends, and so I know I ultimately built my truck, and that took 3 years to get that done, and you know, and met Greg the first time I ever saw Greg. We were in BC pulling, and Greg broke his foot. Sorry, Greg, to tell on you. Broke his foot, and that was the very first time I ever met the Gish family. But you know, we've known one another for over 30 years, and so, you know, it's been great. I love going and helping and doing or whatever, and you know, we have such a good family of people now with you California guys and the Nevada guys. You know, it's just so much fun to be around you all, and you know, you're just great people, and so it's exciting. So that's kind of my story, and that's kind of why I can like to continue doing it as long as I can.
So you're saying it was long enough back Jason was still in diapers then?
Jason was a pretty small little guy when I met Jason. Yes, exactly.
You look at Jason, you look at Sammy, you look at Jenny, their daughter Leslie. All these kids kind of grew up together, and they grew up in the pits at the polls.
Absolutely.
They and I can't say none of them have turned out too bad. They couldn't afford to get into drugs because they were into the pulling scene, so they had no money to go buy drugs. So that was a good thing, you know. I kind of got involved in pulling, John, back in '85. I've got an old GTO that I used to drag race and stuff, and I went to a tractor pull down in Rockford, Washington, down south of Spokane, and they had a big skid that they pulled behind a pickup or behind a tractor or whatever class they were pulling at the time. They had a big metal cable, and they hooked it onto the vehicle that was going to tow it, and they parked another one on top of that skid. Anyway, as the skid went down the track, people would stand right alongside the track, and as the skid went by, people would step on her, and that's how they got their extra weight. And we went down to pull in Rockford there, and I won the darn thing, and this is kind of fun. So that's when I got involved in it, and I took an old truck out of a wrecking yard and built it into the Moonlighter. I think the first pull we met Gishes and the Tramps and all the other people that we pull with was down in Walla Walla, if I recall. Weren't you guys there, Greg, in Walla Walla?
Yep.
And I think that's the first time I met all the guys out of Portland. And we all kind of hooked up. Everybody kind of said, well, I think I can probably tolerate these guys. So we've been hanging together for over 30 years now, and we've had some really, really good times.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Definitely have had a great time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're telling me some good stories about like when you built Moonlighter and everything, you know, what it was built out of. And, you know, it was just, you went and found the truck, GSA truck, and started building it.
We got pictures of, Sammy was 5, I think, when we built the Moonlighter. Jenny was in diapers, and I had the truck sitting out behind my shop, and we had a 5-gallon bucket upside down in the cab, and Jenny was sitting in there, and she was just driving, pretending like she was driving the truck, you know. And now they're driving it under the power of the vehicle, you know. So it's been good. Moonlighter's been to high schools. It's been to North Central High School. Sammy was kind of a helper at a daycare center, and it's been to daycare centers. I mean, we've had it everywhere showing it, just like I think all the other guys have had their trucks different places, you know.
Yeah.
And it's try to promote a good safe sport, and it's just been fun.
Now, tell us a little bit about like Limited and what was the other truck you guys used to run?
We had the Predator. We had 3 of them. I'm not very smart. We had the Moonlighter, we had the Limited Edition, and then we had the Predator. And that Predator belonged to a friend of ours, Mike Moffitt. He's an old buddy of ours. And Mike used to run that truck when we had the Inland Empire Pullers Association up here in the Northwest. And Mike got a divorce, so rather than letting the truck get too far away, my partner Paul and I, we ended up buying the Predator. And we campaigned that truck for several years. And then Charlie Miller wanted to sell Limited Edition. So anyway, we were saying, God, that'd be nice to have that truck. That thing, back in that time frame when we bought that truck, I mean, that was kind of a state-of-the-art truck. It had the big Hemi Ford in it, you know, tube chassis and all this and that and everything, you know. So anyway, we had a couple guys in town here that was kind of thinking they wanted to get into pulling. And I said, well, gosh, there's a truck down in Oregon for sale right now, and it'd be a heck of a buy, because when we bought that truck, we only paid like $20,000 for it. Just like you seen it, John, and we even got the trailer and everything. And this one guy in town here, he wanted to get into pulling, so he says, "I'm not a Ford guy, but I'd buy that Chevrolet for that." So anyway, we sold him the Predator, or he gave us a deposit on the Predator, and we went down and we made a deal with Charlie Miller, and we ended up buying Limited Edition. So we've still got it, and. Anyway, after 3 years of waiting to get paid on the Predator, we finally repossessed the truck. We made more money selling the Predator than we ever did pulling with it. We were going to change the name to the Predator. So anyway, we went ahead and the truck now, the Predator now is over in Linden, Washington. The Van Dalen family has it, and they'll have it out. They campaigned it for a while. Darren drove that, and Darren, we lost him to cancer here a couple of years ago, and but Brent and his dad are still involved, and they're going to get it back out and kind of go from there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
How did Cascade come about?
Cascade, after Skylar come through, and they kind of did some promoting and kind of got things lined up, and I really, really do wish it would have worked for Skylar, because then we wouldn't have to do all this crap as far as promoting and do everything else, you know, and we could just go to the polls and enjoy ourselves. But after Skylar's deal kind of went sideways a little bit, some of the guys in the Northwest up here were worried. Now what are we going to do? We got this thing rolling. Now what are we going to do? Just let it fall on its face? So Mike Sharpelow, Dave Vienendahl, Greg and Sammy, and then they invited me into this thing. And I said, well, I'll help you. I don't want to be involved in it. But so anyway, we went ahead and we formed Cascade Pullers. They were trying to think of a name, and they were talking about this and that and everything else, you know. And I said, well, let's call it Cascade Pullers. We're in the Cascade Mountain Range. And I didn't even think about Al Thomas's deal, because isn't that, Greg, what Al called his deal was Cascade?
Yes.
Yeah, he was Cascade, yeah. And these guys, all these little pop-ups on the bottom. Moffat just give me a bunch of crap about taking 40 years to get my GTO up and running again. I've been pretty busy, Muff. But so that's kind of how Cascade come about, and we just stuck with that name, and we kind of try to keep the sport going is what we're trying to do, John.
That's good. That's very good. Mike Campbell asked, wish I was able to get my hands back on my dad's truck. Was
Waha's
Pride?
Pride.
Waha's
Waha's
Pride,
Pride.
yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was that truck? I don't
Well, it was a 78 9 Ford. Had a big engine in it and stuff. And Mark and their family lived down in
Lewiston,
they were down in the Lewiston area, down
south of Spokane, about
yeah.
90 miles.
And Mark pulled the truck. He pulled with us for several years, and then Mark up and died on us.
Yeah.
Didn't give us any warning on that.
Yeah.
But no, the kids would like to find the truck, and they'd like to get it back and try to do something with it.
Yeah, and I know we've been asked about it, but we have no idea.
I have no idea where that truck ended
it's
up.
at.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Any of that.
Answer from Mayfield there is the first time or the second time. I know him. He got out of it for a while and he's getting back in.
Well, you hook to the sled. Once you do that, you hook to the sled. You're either going to like it or you're not.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Oh, yeah.
And then you just kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like Steve, you and I were talking about this this past weekend. The first time I hooked this sled was in '93, and that was with my high school pickup. And it's just that adrenaline rush you got when the first time that chain got tight.
Oh, yeah.
And it was over after that.
Well, you get the butterflies, and then you got to go take a leak and stuff. And yeah. God, I hope I could get through this pull fast enough. I got to do something else.
Yeah, then amazingly, at the end of it, you don't have to go no more.
Well, yeah, yeah.
It's all over with.
Yes. Damn, I wet my pants again.
That's just old age, Steve.
Well,
these guys
you know,
gave me a bad time about getting on this video thing because I come up with some of these, what they call their Steve-isms, and I have certain words that I need to have in those Steve-isms to make them function properly, and some of the words that I got to leave them out tonight, so I'll be good. I'll be good.
Well, no, I gave you a new one Saturday night up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I'm
one where I
get a little bit old, John. Could you remind me?
when I'm sitting there and there's a few trucks to go, and I said you couldn't take a nail and shove it up my ass with a 10-pound sledge.
Yeah, yeah. Your feet weren't quite touching the ground.
No.
But you deserve that. You had a good hook. It was fun. We were all glad to see you get in the top of the pile.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
The most of us have been there once before, and you always try to get back up there, and it's fun being on top. The only problem is you got a big target on your back, don't you, Greg?
yeah, exactly. But
Don't you, Greg?
that is, that is true. We've had a pretty good season this year, so
You guys have done real well.
Well, Greg, with that, why don't you tell us a little bit of history on the Gish family history?
Well, it almost started before Jason. Well, my dad worked for International Harvester. Well, he worked for International Harvester all of his life. And the Poles came to town, and of course, the promoter comes to International to try to get equipment for track maintenance and all that good stuff. And so my dad gets involved with that because he was the salesman, and he was a pretty good salesman. He sold more log trucks out of the bar than he did out of the office. So he had some pretty good friends that way. But anyway, they got to be really good friends, and so we went to the polls, of course, and got interested in it, and then because of my dad, all of his buddies he's been selling trucks to said, "Hey, I got this old truck in the field. You can have it if you want it." And so we went to the field and had to cut the blackberries out of it because it was a crew cab and the windows were down and the blackberries had grown through it. And we got it going and ran that for a couple of years, and then changed it to the body that we have now. And when we did that, I think that was probably in the late 70s, early 80s. And we've just been adding to it and changing it ever since. So,
Greg, when did you start pulling, Greg?
probably 80, the late 70s when we first started pulling crew cab in the stock class. We had a 66 International crew cab that we pulled with, and it was a old faded truck with and then we had to put a flatbed on it, and my dad found this flatbed and it was gold colored, so the truck didn't look too good, and no headlights in it, so we put little tin plates in it, and my mom painted bloodshot eyeballs in it, and
Kind of like
promoter,
Jason's eyeballs.
yeah. Yeah, this promoter thought that we had a pretty ugly looking truck, and so he was really good at getting the crowd going, and he would tell us that how ugly the truck was and that the driver was uglier. And so we kind of got going with that for a couple years, and then that's how Double Ugly got its name, was from Dave Matthews and my dad harassing each other, and it's just kind of stuck. I've tried to change the name a couple times, but the family won't let me, so it's going to stay Double Ugly for a while. But we've had a good time over the years. Jason and his buddies, when we moved up to Portland area and we're working on the truck in the garage, his friends would come over and they would grind and weld and drill holes. And you were talking, Steve, about not being into the drugs and stuff. Jason and his buddies didn't have any time to hardly do anything because I had them pretty busy on the weekends in the garage working on the silly thing. And
Well, it hasn't hurt him a bit, Greg.
no.
Any of these kids. I'm pretty proud of all of them.
And then we'd stick the kids and their friends in the pickup, and Friday afternoon, and we'd head off, and we would be gone all weekend, almost every weekend for the longest time, and we got to know our kids pretty good when you're sitting in the truck for 8 or 10 hours at a time. And
just Greg, that comment there, we've had other people come up to us here in Spokane and just, how do you get your kids to do anything with you? We can't get our kids to do anything with us. I said, well, you got to be involved with them, do stuff.
Yeah,
and it's been good though.
Well, Jason has been at it with me for quite a while, and I've noticed that his son, over the last couple pulls that he's been at, he's really interested in, what's this do? Why do you do that?
Jason's out.
Jason was showing how to start the truck and what all the gauges meant, and and then we were changing the fuel in it the other night, and he goes, well, why do you do that, Grandpa? So he's getting real interested in it. I don't know about his sister. She may be more interested in it, but
I think Kelsey's more interested in it.
Yeah.
She's wound up.
We'll see how that goes. But it's really neat to see, the families evolve. We've grown up together. I'm still a kid at heart. Every time that truck fires up, I get, the adrenaline goes and I get all excited and I get nervous on how to adjust the truck. And after this many years. So it's just one of those things that you do, and we just love it. And, my two of you enjoy it, and now their kids do too. So, yeah. So we've had a great time with it and enjoy it a lot. And as long as we can keep beating up on those Fords, we'll just keep doing it.
Well, your days are numbered, I think, Greg. You know that. You're not going to continue that.
Well, we had a poll, and there was 9 Fords and 1 International, and I don't know that the Fords got ahead of that International. I don't quite remember.
We didn't have you tightening our fuel lines though.
Well, and that's the other thing is I've kind of gotten to where I'm going around and helping all these younger pullers that are trying to get into the fun of it. And, I enjoy going and helping them figure out what they need to do and how to do it, and keep them interested and their families interested in pulling, so we can just keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. And a perfect example of that, just the camaraderie that goes on between everybody. Like when we were in Gardnerville, when we were in Nevada, the second night when we were in Gardnerville, you know, I was having issues with my truck. Double Ugly's right next to my truck, and the first thing Papa Gish goes, "What do we need to help? You know, what do we got to do to figure out what's wrong?" And granted, it was a small issue, self-inflicted, but you know, everybody was there to help.
We've been up in Tonasket, and Greg and Jason was having trouble with their truck, and we robbed parts off of our truck after we made our pull to try to make their truck work. And the same with the Wheatleys, you know. Remember, Greg, when Cheryl's what was it? The steering pump went out.
Steering pump.
Yeah.
So we robbed parts. I mean, we've taken parts off of each one of our trucks and put them on the other trucks to make it work so the other guy can pull.
Oh yeah.
You don't see that in a lot of drag racing and stuff like that. You know,
No, you don't. I carry a few spare parts, and if somebody needs them, they're there for them. I don't, you know.
You've got some, and I've got some different ones, and everybody's got their own little stash, and it seems like we can keep all this stuff going.
We'll just we'll just keep putting stuff in it, and whatever they need, we'll help them.
Yeah.
Well,
we've got the old Devil's Delight is here just north of Spokane, and Bob Spearstra, he ended up buying that truck, and he I think he's going to try to get it together and come out and play with it. And I see really? Mike Campbell. Mike's been asking about what happened to Old Greenie. I sold Old Greenie. I bought it from Elliot and Wayne, and I sold it to Fred Choker. And I think Freddie took the motor out of it, and they put it in a Mini. And I think the truck went to Colorado. I don't know that for a fact, but I think the truck ended up in Colorado.
Yeah.
So.
Steve, what is let me get it back here. What is one of your favorite pulling memories?
One of my favorite, I think one of my favorite pulling memories, there's many of them, John, but one of the best ones that I can just recall, we were pulling up in Medicine Hat, Alberta, and Rick Johnson and I, we were sitting there, we were trying to outthink one another, and Larry Johnson, Rick's dad, just the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. He come up and he said, "You two buttheads, pull your heads out of your butt and just put a gear in there or put something in that truck that the truck will run with, you know, quit trying to reinvent the wheel." And just Larry was just the neatest guy you'd ever want to meet as far as being a puller. And I think the first time we met Larry was up in, wasn't that in Calgary, Brian?
Yes.
We pulled in the Saddle Dome.
In the Saddle Dome.
And, and that's the first time we ever pulled against Larry Johnson, and Ed Wandler was there with the Bud Bandit. We were there. Wiedemeyer's were there out of Minnesota, and they had some Pro Mod trucks. And we had the Moonlighter and the Predator up there. And on Sunday, we actually beat all those trucks. So we kind of got a pretty good feather in our hat, beating the number one truck in the nation. That was quite an exciting deal.
Yeah.
So.
And you said something there, you know, quit trying to reinvent the wheel. I think I heard that this weekend from the guy up there on top.
Really?
Yeah, that does happen. We try to overthink stuff, and it happens real easy to do. You can change your mind too many times.
Well, as soon as you're done making your pull, though, you knew exactly where you goofed up. Is God, if I'd have left that alone, or if I'd only done this or done that.
Yeah.
Right. We had that moment last Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got all the carnage back together, so I think we'll be ready to go.
Good.
Brian about pooped his pants the first time he drove a modified.
That true story there. Yeah. So Mike Moffitt, he was the one that had the Predator, and Mike campaigned that truck. In fact, Mike was the guy that got us started going to Sublimity. He'd already been down there like a year or two, and then one day he told Steve and I, he goes, "Hey, there's this place down in Oregon you guys ought to check out," you know. So we're thinking, I don't know about that. And he goes, yeah, it's out in the middle of nowhere, but it's really nice. And there's all these trucks and yada, yada. And so that's how we got started going down there. But anyhow, one night it was in Spokane here, and Mike lived down in Wenatchee, and he hung out with Steve and myself and his family and all this stuff. And that's a darn good looking pole right there. I'm just saying. I gotta go with that one right there.
I'd have to pat you on the back there, Humphrey. You did a pretty good job there. That was a pretty nice job.
So anyhow, Mike, he said he didn't feel good that night, and he said, "Hey, you want to run my truck?" And I was just seriously nervous as all get out. And in typical Mike fashion, he throws you in there and goes, "Well, you do this, this, and this." Slams the door, says, "See you later. Good luck." Well, and the nice thing about it was back then he had an automatic in it, and so it was fairly easy to maneuver and get back up to the sled. I can remember making that pass, and I'm like down about 150 feet or something. It's like, maybe I should squeeze this thing off all the way, because you're all nervous and it's making more noise and racket, and we had a pretty good little pole that first time, and I drove it back up there, and I was just shaking by the time I shut it off, But after that, and I'd already hung out with Steve quite a bit. I'd never driven Moonlighter, I'd moved it around, and so on and so forth. But it definitely gets in your blood, and it is the adrenaline that really makes you want to come back for more every week. That's for sure.
I see the fire breathing Dave Vinendahl just checked in.
Did we see that? You talk about Brian almost pooping his pants when he did that. I think Jenny wet her pants the first time she ever drove the Predator. We had the Moonlighter. Did we have all three of them there, Greg, in Spokane the time when the KXLY was there and they had the news crew there, and Jenny had never driven a pole truck. So Moffat naturally gives her the 30-second interview on how to drive a pole truck. Right. Mm-hmm. So down the track she went, and I think Sammy was riding with her, and oh my God, she got out of there. I don't think she could stand up. She was so excited. Yeah.
Well, the first time Leslie drove a truck, she won.
Well, that was with Brian's truck, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the ones where everybody was going down one way, and the track had a big white line that kind of went way out and came back. And I just told her, I said, just follow that white line. And she went out.
Another typical Gish move.
Greg, where do you mount that little can that has the chalk on the front of your weight bar so you don't ever go out?
Well, it's an electronic sensor that senses that white line, and it just keeps steering the other way.
Yeah,
that's got to be a Steve-ism right there. Where do you mount the can?
And I didn't even swear at that one. Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we talk about how family and how much fun we have. This year, one of our good pulling friends couldn't be there because of his son was getting married. And so we all went down to Harrisburg, and Jason brought this fella's truck down and put Brian Humphrey in it. And I think that Brian hasn't been in a truck probably for 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe a little longer.
You could have fooled all of us with that pass he made, though, couldn't you, Greg?
Yeah.
Man.
And well, it was kind of funny that night. Steve and Brian and I decided we were going to drive. So they kept calling us the old farts. And,
that isn't what they called us.
Well, we're on live, so I'm trying
we're
to
on
something.
Yeah.
So then the three of us drove, and there was 10 trucks or something there, and somehow the three old guys got first, second, and third.
How about that?
Yeah. So we did pretty good job, but it was pretty special that somebody like that just basically gives his truck out and lets the guy that used to own it drive, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a few years back before that, Brian wasn't using his truck, and he was gracious enough to let the Gish family ran it. So we ran it for a couple years. We ran two trucks, which, Steve doing his two, I don't want to do that anymore. That was too much work.
Well, you did, Greg. You did a really nice job running them 2 trucks. I mean, you had them both working, and you were kind of in the top of the pack back then again too.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that we do is, I can't do the same thing over and over. I got to try stuff, and sometimes, what do they call it? Hero or zero. And
Yeah.
but that's how I learn.
Well, it's all experience. You learn.
So if it's, and I keep good notes, and if that's what it is, if this works, I know what to do. If it doesn't work, well, we're not doing that again.
Yeah.
Right.
And then of course you got to get the driver to do his thing correctly too. And that's not always, it's funny. My dad would always come up to Jason after the pull, especially at Sublimity, and he goes, "You got on it a little too soon." And Jason goes, "Oh no, I didn't." And then he would watch the video and he goes, "God, Grandpa was right. I did get in it too soon."
My dad was good. My dad was good for that too, Greg. He'd always come up, well, you either got on it too soon or you were too late or whatever. Finally, one day I told Dad, I said, "You jump in there, you drive it. You show me how to do it, Dad." He never would get in it.
No.
Never would get it.
I haven't been in the truck too much over the last several years, but I think I learned more about the truck and how to drive it watching it.
Yeah.
So, and then, like I say, when I can get Jason to do what he's to do the correct way, it all comes.
How old are you now, Jason? Why would you start listening and doing what your dad tells you to do now? At this age?
He just had a birthday yesterday.
That's good. Schultz, you hit that one perfect.
Yeah.
I'm learning. You guys are a bunch of smartasses. I can hang out with you all.
All right. They're kind of handy to have around, aren't they, Jason?
I'm enjoying this a lot. So.
Good. Well, we can all pitch and we can all catch.
I can sense that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this sport so good, because you can heap it on one guy and they can handle it, and I mean they're going to pass it on to the next guy. I mean there's nobody that gets picked on all by themselves.
No.
Yeah. No.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No, shoot. So what's the furthest you guys have ever traveled?
Furthest we've been is Mandan, North Dakota. We went from here to there. Well, we pulled with I think it was with Pro West one summer. We were up in Canada up to
Is that the short bus?
we pulled in we pulled in Strathmore, we pulled in Medicine Hat, we pulled in Bismarck and Mandan. That was an experience. The deal back there, I'm sitting in limited and I'm coming off the line a little bit and I hit it a little and the truck kind of bounced. That thing had a bag on the front of it, and it was if you were lucky, it would stay on the track. If it stayed on the track, it ran halfway decent. Anyway, the darn thing bounced on me. I went back in the seat. I had to pull myself forward, and when it bounced, it threw me back in the seat. I broke the seat, and I fell back in the back between the roll bar. And then I went to pull myself forward, and as I pulled myself forward, I hit throttle. So I mean, that was quite the pull. That was pretty. Quite a deal. I think I still ended up third.
Out of 3?
And then you didn't have to say that. God, you popped my bubble.
Yeah. You say, "Yeah, I'm in the top 5." Well, there was only 5 trucks.
Yeah.
I think next year at Sublimity, we should all just trade notebooks and just see if anybody does any better.
What's a note? What do you use a notebook for?
Well, Jason, that's something, because now the Henjums are actually taking notes, and they're going to start.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Hey, careful.
A couple fighters come out.
It's scary.
Yep. So
Well,
last
Craig,
Friday and Saturday. Last Friday
everything
and
that went
Saturday
on
was
this
their
weekend,
first
you do have to hand it to old Ralph. He did a pretty good job of driving Saturday night. He actually come out, he walked it out there a little ways.
Yeah.
Ralph did a pretty good job for an old guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The old legend.
There you are.
Yep.
There you are.
Toss up who's the oldest here between
We
Ralph and Denny.
we get a bunch of old drag racers here in Spokane, and we meet with these guys. They're all in their 80s.
Lost you.
Lost his volume, lost his microphone.
He keeps talking though.
Yeah.
I like it.
Schultz, did you accidentally hit mute on him?
No, I think they bumped something, guys. That'd be my guess. Brian and Steve, did you guys bump your mute button? Can you hear us, Brian and Steve?
Must not be able to hear.
Yeah, they're still fine on my side on the control panel, guys. I don't know what happened.
Well, Jason popped off too, so I think
Jason's internet sucks. He needs Greg, can you hook Jason up with some better internet?
You know,
every week, so.
well, I can try. Yes, we'll
Okay.
work on that.
A lot of it depends upon where you live. So
Yeah, he does. Well, you know, he's got 2 young kids, so that it makes it a little hard to.
yeah,
They were probably sucking up the internet.
could be.
Mary said Ralph's older by 3 minutes.
I don't know what happened to Brian, and they disappeared. So I don't know
think
something
they might
happened
be-
with their internet.
they might be
Okay,
trying to relog.
Maybe they don't have any internet either.
No, they've been pounding along pretty good all night. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah.
Jason might have touched their button like he does his throttle.
Man, this internet. I don't know. I'm not too
Well-
impressed with Ziply. Might go back to Xfinity.
There we are.
There
Hey.
they
You guys are
I don't know what happened.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Pay your bills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I thought Teresa paid it this month, but apparently not. I don't know what the heck.
All right. Well, good.
When we had Inland Empire Pullers, we had a bunch of guys down in the Lewiston, Idaho area. Dave Mundy and Mike and that bunch down there. We called those guys Monday and Tuesday. And we had some quite crazy experiences going over to Montana and here and there and stuff, pulling the old sled that we used to have. We bought Dick Lee's old sled, and we'd haul that thing over to Montana and Monday and Tuesday. And us guys, we got some stories that we can't put on here.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, we'll come up this weekend, Steve, and make sure that those Fords stay behind that International.
Oh boy.
Oh man, it almost seems like every single time when the video comes up, that's when we lose their microphone.
Well, you mean I can talk about them now so they can't hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm
No.
gonna tell Brian to relog.
Me with them.
We lost him again.
Moffat.
It almost seemed like when you pulled up a video, we lost their audio.
What the heck? No, well, shit.
I just texted him and told him to relog in.
Okay, I'll kick him off again.
Uh,
All right, I'll quit playing videos then. I just was trying to bring some stuff up. So
yeah, Greg,
No, that's good.
what's the furthest you guys have gone?
Oh, us?
Yeah.
Well, we pretty much stuck to the West Coast. We, I'd say Utah, Colorado, Idaho, of course. We went into Canada a couple times and had a good time there, but trying to work a full job and keep kids busy. We didn't get to do a lot of long distance traveling. But we stayed pretty busy on the West Coast back in the early 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, it was every weekend at times.
Yeah.
You know.
So Moffett and Campbell are having a little shit fest. They're throwing slurs at each other on the show. So I'm trying to keep up with all the compliments.
I'm surprised Mike Moffett can type that fast.
Anybody could be Greg. Anybody could be doing it for him. Let's be real.
Oh, okay.
That's what Jason does. So
Yeah.
You ought to go on Jason's and get some pictures, get some videos.
Which ones?
Old guys reunion.
Old guys reunion. Well, yeah.
You going to show up too, Moffett?
No. You guys are back, huh?
Finally.
I don't know. It just kicked us off. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna quit playing videos. I think I was screwing it up somehow. So.
Oh.
Hey, Ralph, how old is Tucker?
Old.
Ancient.
There he is.
I think he's about your age, Steve.
Just a young guy.
Yeah, yep, just a youngin. Yeah, I think
Ralph's the oldest one of the bunch, isn't he?
And then I think I don't know if it's Denny or you, but the two of you are getting pretty old as well. I'm just saying that it just happens.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it happened. At least we're here to talk about it.
Right. And I'm not going to get any older, so.
You're not?
Nope, I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah, Ralph just turned 75, so.
Yeah.
And
I think
Ralph said he's between 70 and 72. Well, I'm 72 now, Ralphie, so. Yeah.
I think Denny's 72 also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's probably the same age as you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Hey, Papa Gish, do you remember going down to, I think it was Klamath Falls and do that indoor arena one? And I think it was 2003.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
You guys, put a spanking on all the California boys in the indoor arena.
Yes, I did. With the smallest motor there.
Yeah.
Is that the one where they put that little MG car out in the middle and the monster trucks drove over it? Where was that at, Greg?
No, this was like a little horse arena.
It was a horse arena.
It was in a horse arena.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that was Charlie
put
that on.
That was a doctor that was getting a divorce because he was out messing around. His old lady put his little sports car out in the middle of the deal, let the monster trucks drive over it. There, that'll teach you, baby.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
That's hilarious.
Jason, that was the last time we
I love you,
rolled
Lisa.
with Al Thomas.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. He was in a wheelchair by then, I think, too, if I remember right.
Yep.
Greg, did you guys ever see the jumping combine out of North Dakota?
No.
They had the combine that would jump over they had a little sports car they'd park out there, and they had a combine that they would run, and they would run and jump over the top of that car. trying to remember that guy's name. God, he drank. What kind of beer was he drinking, Moffett?
Oh man.
Yeah, we did break them blender. I cried.
It's kind of like breaking taillights at the pole, huh?
Right to your daughter too.
Yes. She had to tell her friend about that this weekend, and it was kind of funny. There you go.
Oh, is that it, Steve?
Yep.
That's in Wenatchee.
That's it. There's an MG underneath it.
Holy crap.
Jeez.
Looks like he almost didn't make that one.
Look at the crowd, you guys. Holy crap.
Yeah. Well, we used to just pack arenas wherever we went. We had a 4-day pull in Medford every year for the West Coast Championship thing that they were putting on, and they had to bring in extra bleachers and rope off areas because there was no place to stand, and it's just amazing the amount of people that came out back then. Now I wonder what the heck's going on because there's too many things to do on any given weekend. So I don't know exactly how to get them back involved with motorsports, but
They turned out pretty good last
and this
weekend.
is what we're working on right here tonight. We're trying to make it more visible for the people to know what we're doing, and we still love it and do it.
Yeah.
It's great to go and make a lot of noise and throw some dirt and entertain the crowd.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Need more communities like Sublimity and stuff to, roll out the red carpet for us.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, big shows like that is what that's the awesome part.
Steve and Brian, I missed the beginning of the show. Do you guys have an event coming up in Washington this weekend, right? You're promoting?
Yes, we got to pull in Spokane at the fairgrounds on Friday night.
Okay. Do you guys have any Facebook posts or websites or anything I can share?
I don't think so. I don't know. Sammy, are you on there? You could get with Jason and.
Well, I want to share some stuff right now. So I'll go to Sammy's page and see if she.
Yeah, go to Sammy. Yep, she shared something the other day.
But we're doing, Jason, we're doing Spokane on Friday night and then Bonners Ferry on Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah. Bonners Ferry, Idaho.
Well,
Yes,
that's the key.
Bonners Ferry,
I mean,
Idaho.
I have found with polling guys, everybody does an awesome job of posting videos and pictures afterwards. Then you have like 100 people that say, "Well, I didn't know that was going on this weekend," and that
Right.
always pisses me off. That's really what motivates me to. I've been doing this for 10 years, all this social media stuff, and yeah, it's just been fun to see. You know what I'm trying to say? We got to get the word out ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, the fair has been advertising this for quite some time here.
What fair is it, Brian?
Spokane County Fair.
Okay, I'll go to their Facebook page. I'm sure they got something.
Hey, Jason, Gish, those couple of videos I sent you too, that's a shot of Jason Burton's diesel sooter that'll be there.
Oh, yeah. I think he played that.
On Friday night as
Um,
well. Did we play it? Maybe we missed it.
Which one? Which one, Brian?
It's a white truck.
It's a white Dodge. Runs in the 2.6 class.
Yeah, I found a video of that.
Oh, okay. Yep, gotcha.
Yeah, that's a hard hitting truck too. Burton's probably in Facebook.
Well, and since Jason has been doing this with you, Jason, here, we've got to develop our own website or Facebook page, whatever you want, for the pullers, and help promote that more ourselves. Yeah. Brian or Steven is flip phone. Yeah. But actually, Jason's got his daughter working on a TikTok or a whatever page for us. So we're going to have some more stuff in the future, and we'll promote it beforehand, because you're right. We got to do that ahead of time.
Guys, is it the Spokane County Fair and Expo Center? Is that where you're going to
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they're not doing a good job promoting the pull, because all it's about is motorcycles the 23rd and 24th.
Uh-oh.
Not trying to be that guy, but I am going to.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
They got a lot of tickets sold. I know that.
No, that's great. No. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just letting you know I don't see it anywhere. So.
Yeah. Steve could do that.
I can be that guy.
What's fun is listen to these stories from coast to coast. I mean, the West Coast to the East Coast, pulling family's great. Just the stories you guys tell are the same stuff I see every weekend. I love
some of the stories when we get to these polls and we start talking about some of our past experiences. If there was a person that hadn't been around that, they would sit down there and I think they would think we were a bunch of liars. Because there's some crazy stuff that we've all done over the years, and if something breaks, you leave it to a puller, they can fix it.
Yeah.
If the pullers can't get it fixed, it's broke.
Yeah.
Well, it's the thing is just like, I see Steve once a year up in Sublimity, and And, you know, we get there, Steve gets there, and it's like we just talked again yesterday. You know, you just start the conversations up and the picking on each other right away. And then, you know, like, and all through the year and stuff like that, like when, you know, how pullers are so resourceful and everything else. You know, Brian called me in the middle of the year last year and says, hey, what do you think about this side-by-side? So he's trying to get information on buying a side-by-side. You know, we all talk to each other and bounce ideas off each other, even not pulling.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it goes way beyond pulling. That's for sure.
It does. You know, we help each other to do a better job, and it's always the same. Whatever we need to do to make it better for each other. We all want us to pull good or hard or whatever you want to call it, and so we try to make that happen.
Well, you look at how it ended up in Harrisburg, Greg. Look at all the trucks that we all had fuel leaks or had something. There's only 3 of you guys, I think, made it down the track without an issue. But I mean, everybody ran hard until they had to shut them off.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, another example is like in 2020 when we weren't having pulls in California, we were going to Idaho and Nevada and stuff like that, and Gishes were meeting us at the Idaho pulls. Well, they didn't make it to Winnemucca, and they knew we were all going. So all of a sudden, like a half an hour before the pool, I get a text message on my phone. I'm like, what? And I look down, and it's Papa Gish going, okay, you want to go down the right side of the track. You want to put this kind of gear in it. You know, he's trying to coach from Oregon how to run in Nevada.
Love it.
Well, been there, done that. So
Nice.
Remember the right place to go. But that's the way it is. I want everybody to run as hard as they can, and if I can help them, I'll help them.
Yep.
To a certain extent, I tell Brian all kinds of stories because he likes to pass them on to everybody else, and
what
screws up the whole field. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
10 is actually 20, and 18 is actually 21 to 1, and so that's the kind of things I give him.
I bite all the time, don't I? So
yes, you do. Yeah,
exactly.
Every time.
Exactly.
Except for when he walks away and goes, he's so full of shit.
I actually did say that this last weekend when he gave me a line about yeah.
Hey guys, Brian and Steve, where are you guys at Saturday night then?
We're in Bonners Ferry, Idaho.
Okay. On Saturday.
Bonners Ferry?
Yes.
No, Bonners. Bonners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll help anybody with anything. I'm just not allowed to touch spark plugs anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, we got lots of Loctite and helicoils for you.
Gorilla tape works really good too.
Yeah.
Hey, don't worry, everybody. I carry helicoils and everything ready to go nowadays.
Good. Get some thread serts. I like them better than helicoils.
Yeah. I like 4 different styles. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna venture out on some different brands too. We heard they were a little better for John and his over torquing.
Oh man.
Just give him a 1/4-inch ratchet, and that's all he's allowed to work with.
Yep.
Yeah, and he has to stand 10 feet away from the vehicle.
Yeah.
That many extensions, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody in Spokane's anxious to come see the pull at the Spokane Interstate Fair.
Good.
That'll be a good one.
Wish it wasn't so far away for you guys out of Cali to come up. We'd love to have you come up and play with us.
Yeah. I'd love to be there.
Well, maybe you'll have to come up and go hunting with us, Jason, and then after that, then you can start coming this direction a little bit.
There you go.
Sounds good. You won't have to ask me twice. I'll show up.
There you go. There you go. If the pulling gets rained out or something like that, we'll all take our four-wheelers and we go down to Paul's and go play in the canyon, go four-wheeling.
Nice.
Oh, that sounds like too much fun.
It
You
is.
got a hard-
Yeah, their hunting camp is not
It's pretty rough.
camp.
Yeah, it's not much of a hunting. It's more like a freaking hotel.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
spa,
I've seen the pictures.
a spa
Paul said,
weekend.
hey, Greg, Paul told me the other day he took another recliner down.
Oh, jeez.
Our
You
hunting
got-
camp is where old furniture goes to die.
You guys are gonna have
When it's dead, we throw it over the bank and burn it.
you're gonna have internet and TV service for too long.
What do you mean, can't we do?
Oh, yeah.
Paul went down the other day, Monday, when he got home, and he watered the lawn again.
Oh, yeah. Got to have green lawn. Yeah.
Well, heck yeah.
What do you mean? They're only saying they're at Brian's house. They might be a hunting camp.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're here in the mud.
That must be Bonner's Ferry right there.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. That was
Was
last
that-
year.
was that the
Bonner,
trip?
yeah.
Yep.
Is
They
that
took a road grader and they come down through the left side of that thing and they bladed off a track so we could get back to the sled. It was so soupy.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was bad.
Oh,
But those people sat in that. Of course, it was a covered grandstand, but that sat in that grandstand while it was pouring down rain and waited for us.
they were waiting for it. I bet you we could have stalled that out till it quit raining and they'd have still been sitting there.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, they would.
We pulled in Walla Walla, Washington one time, and the mud that you see there was nothing compared to what was on the grounds down there in Walla Walla. I think Robbie Klima put a show together there, and they were going to do Walla Walla one night and then Tri-Cities the next 2 nights or something on that line. And if you didn't pull in Walla Walla, you wasn't allowed to go pull in Tri-Cities. And there was so much mud there, they couldn't pull the sled. Gosh, they had a big loader in there and they couldn't get it to go. And it was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, there's Jason Burton's truck running up there last year, right
Yeah. In the soup.
You actually throwing some dirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
there. Well, that come from when they covered that track. Helped,
Yeah.
It helped immensely. So
Yeah.
What kind of crowds you get the next 2 shows? Are they like?
Why the bus?
I don't know how many people that grandstand holds, but it was packed.
at Bonner's
At
last year.
Bonner's, yeah.
Yeah.
What about Spokane? Is that like,
Spokane, what do we have? We'll have close to, I want to say between maybe 4,000, between
Yeah.
4,000 and 5,000 people,
Yeah.
that's a big show?
We'll probably have that.
something like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
They've got a neat facility, the way the arena is set up, because we can put all of our modified vehicles in there, and we can get the diesel pickups lined up over against the arena wall. The lighting at night, I mean, it's a neat facility to pull in at night.
It is.
Yeah,
It,
it works good.
Yep.
Yeah, it
Yep.
makes a nice show.
Awesome.
Well, tell us a couple, a story or two that's something you might have played on Greg, or Greg might have played on you, or a little bit of the shenanigans department between the two.
Oh, we do that.
We wouldn't do that in front of the whole world.
No.
Yeah. That's
Well,
funny.
I remember one time, where was it, Paul or Steve? We were at, and Brian was pulling, and there was a big hump in the track, and everybody was going around it. And I went right over the hump, and I got back and Brian comes out to the track and starts yelling at me, "You can't do that!" And we're standing there with our fingers pointing at each other's chests. Well, yeah, I can't do it, but it worked. Everybody else was going around it, and we went right over the hump and got a little further than everybody else. It was kind of fun, but we like to give each other a bad time.
That's a good way of putting that, Greg. I like the way you did that.
Well, I don't want to be too bad.
Right.
It's fun.
Right. Yeah,
This
it
is a
is fun.
family sport now, Steve.
It'd be
Nice.
fun to get a big pull someplace here on the west side and have some of those East Coast trucks come out here. We've got trucks
Yeah.
amongst our group, you know, all of our guys and those who are not on the video tonight and stuff, sitting home watching this. We got trucks that'll compete with those guys back there. And, you know, Donnie's got some hellacious nice trucks, but he didn't overly impress everything this last weekend.
Oh,
We didn't have a lot of stuff we didn't have a decent track to pull on first off, but
We saw it in Colorado, guys. I saw the West Coast, some of the West trucks come over and hang well with the East Coast guys. It was fun. So that Windsor, Colorado deal, you guys, is legit.
The Windsor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I got something. I don't know if you guys have all heard this before, but do you know how you know you're a truck puller or a tractor puller?
how's that?
So old Dan Quaylo told me one time, he's like, hey, I'll tell you how you know when you're a truck or tractor puller. He's like, you take a handful of marbles and you stick them in your mouth, and every time you go to a track and you make a hook, you spit one out. And then once you lost all your marbles, you're a truck or tractor puller.
Leave it to Quaylo.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a good one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is good.
We had a pull in Missoula, Montana one time, and we're going down Interstate 90 heading over to Montana, and Mike Bader comes up alongside Paul and I, and we had the Moonlighter up behind my old Ford pickup, and we're driving along, and I said to Paul, should we let him get by us? And Paul says, I wouldn't. So anyway, well, I probably shouldn't be bragging about this on this thing, but anyway, we're going down the road, and I looked over, and Kelly's got her window down. I said, Kelly, how fast are we going? Because my Speedo's broke. She looked over, you're going about 105. We're throwing this crap down the highway. And anyway, we got to Missoula, and Bader pulls into the gas station, and he's looking, and he says, why are my mud flaps on top of my tires? So anyway, he got to looking, the damn spring center bolt had broke, and the axle had moved back. So they had sucked the mud flaps up on top of the tires. So shit, if we'd have crashed, they'd still be picking up garbage over there from what we laid out. My God. That's one of our brilliant moves, you know.
Well, didn't you guys have hauling the sled around? Someone would ride in the sled. Someone rode in the sled when you're hauling it down the highway.
Oh, we had a guy. We had Paul's old Western Star truck, and there was 3 of us in the cab of that thing. And hell, you couldn't drink beer and drive that thing. So the one guy, he took a half a rack and he went and sat up in the Moonlighter because we set the scale on top of the bed and put the Moonlighter on top of the scale. And we went down the road, and I forget what his name was, but he was sitting up in the Moonlighter drinking beer as we're going down the road. That Western Star had a real deep dash. You can put a half a rack up on the dash. That worked out really well.
Sounds like my
father-in-law. That was back in the days when you were allowed to drink and drive.
Yeah, my father-in-law used to tell me, I'll be like, hey, how far is this? He'd be like, it's about a 6-pack away.
Yeah.
That's about a tall boy. That's about a tall boy.
Right.
But we went to Yakima one time, and we blew a tire on this old dually that we were hauling the Moonlighter with. Was it on the dually, or what the hell did we have? Moffat's got something on here. Yakima, we had with a dually tire on the trailer. Oh, we blew a tire on the trailer, so all we had was a tire for a dually. So we stuck the dually on. The tire was hanging way outside the fender, but we got there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, it worked.
we're headed up to Ukiah one year, and I put my pit bike between the tires on flash on the trailer. We're heading down Highway 12, and all of a sudden I just see smoke. We pull over, and the pit bike had flipped over and it was rubbed against the tires on the side of the trailer. Strap came loose. Brand new tires on it too. I was like, oh my god.
Well, Titsworth, wasn't it going to Reno? We won't say the puller's name, but wasn't it going to Reno that one of the pullers lost a tire and ended up starting a fire?
Yeah, lost a tire, and he lit multiple fires down the highway.
Oh boy.
Down 80.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out how come there was bombers and fire trucks passing them up.
And that made a bunch of other pullers late too because they shut the highway down.
Oh, jeez.
We went to Vancouver, BC one time, and we got our engine builder. Brian came into town, and he kept the engine builder working on our engines. And we had 2 trucks. We needed 2 engines to go pulling this weekend. Anyway, Brian had his and had it he had his engine in the truck. We just barely finished ours. We set the engine in the truck. We fired it, so we knew it would run. We didn't have the clutch in it, the can on it, or anything. So when we got to Vancouver, we ended up putting the clutch and everything, put the rest of the truck together inside the BC Place Arena up there.
Yeah.
Would you weigh it with everything in the cab? Oh yeah, we're good.
Oh yeah, we're good. It'll run.
Just
yeah,
hoping that you got all the bolts and all the pieces it's going to take to bolt it all together when you got up there. But
right,
yeah.
We made it work.
The year we redid the Young Guns, got it all painted and everything, redid the whole chassis and everything. We fired that thing up we finally finished it at 3 a.m., fired it up, and then we're like, all right, cool. So we all went to our houses, took showers, grabbed our stuff, jumped in the hauler, and headed to Santa Maria for the first round of the Winter Nationals. And we ended up taking that championship down. That was a 4-hook deal. So it was pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good story right there, because that's kind of what Steve's talking about there. There was, I was living and farming out west of Spokane, about 35 miles, and so we got that Steve's running that night, and I took all my stuff home and told my wife, I said, well, I need a bag and a thermos of coffee, and we met at 10 o'clock at night, and we drove all night to get to BC and slept in the pickup, got a couple hours worth of sleep, went to Florida, and then got Moonlighter inside and offloaded, and then put her all together, and so that night there, or the night we went pulling, Steve drew the ace, so brand new motor, it run in Spokane for maybe 3 minutes. So he gets this thing and goes ripping down the track, pulls it right out the end, So it's like, well, I guess we're going to have to re-gear it and we hooked onto it and brought him back. And then you took off, had another heck of a pull.
I think we made 2 full pulls.
You made 3 that night.
Yeah. Then we had, then it died on the 3rd pull.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Lack of fuel.
Lack of fuel. But the belt come off of the fuel pump. So that's all it was. We figured, well, shit, did we run out of gas? And I think Ralphie was there. Ralph won. And Ralph come up to us after the pull. He said, you guys had that one hands down. I didn't have to pull quite as many times as you guys did.
We were just trying to get it broken in one night. That's for sure.
Yeah. People talk to me about breaking on.
We were on our way back home from Vancouver, BC, and Brian had borrowed a truck from a buddy of his, and I had this old Ford crew cab that the guy let us use all the time to haul the Moonlighter around. Anyway, this thing was running on about 7 cylinders, and we're coming up the hill, up the Snoqualmie there, and I was coming up on a semi, and Brian and Paul pulls over, and
they pinched him off.
They pinched me off. I couldn't get over, so I had to slow down, and Brian and Paul went zinging by us, and so I bet you there wasn't 2 inches between the front bumper on my pickup and the back end of Brian's trailer. I just zipped over right behind him and tailgated him. And Brian's driving along and he says to Paul, "Where the hell did they go? I can't even see them in the mirror. They're so close, I can't see them." So anyway, we got all the way to Ellensburg, and we stopped at the truck stop there. We was going to have a bite to eat. And Paul had been really heaping it on Brian all weekend long. So we go into this restaurant, and they got booths in there, and these booths, they're 3 feet tall, and you can see everybody from the chest up, their head and everything. Kenny, my cousin, and I, we sat down on our side. Paul slides in the booth on the one side, and Brian had headed up to about here with Paul all weekend long. So Brian just leans over and kind of great big fart. I mean, it was so loud, everybody in the place heard it. And then he looks over at Paul and says, "Dad, just sit there. I'll go get you some Gas X." Boy.
I tell you what, finally, I took stuff off of Paul for 3 days. And even Paul, he goes, "I was a little rough on you, Hump." I said, "I shouldn't have been so rough on you, especially after you just did what you did to me." So we've had an awful good run being together, and all of us, with the Gishes and now the California guys now, and it's just been really, really enjoyable. Yeah. So we're hoping that the Lord blesses us a few more years that we can keep doing this.
You betcha.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did that one when we went to Vancouver that time, and remember it was raining like a cow peeing on a flat rock.
Oh, geez.
We're driving, and with Kenny and I, that was the same weekend that you had the party. You had the gas.
Yeah, I had the gas.
I had the gas that weekend.
Bad gas.
On the way over there, we're driving along, and we got close to Blaine.
We got up to Blaine.
Up to Blaine, one of the rest areas, and it's pouring down rain. I mean, just cats and dogs. So we're tired. We pull in there with Paul and I, Paul was riding with Brian.
Yeah, Paul was cool.
And anyway, Kenny and I was in the rig ahead. We just hit the buttons on the doors, and we just went to sleep. Brian was snoring so loud he kept Paul awake all night. Paul got up, and he comes up beating on the window, trying to get into our truck, and he looked like a drowned rat.
A drowned rat.
He's standing there in his stocking feet. He didn't know what the hell was going on. Jesus, you guys wait, let me in. So then he goes back and he beats on the window. Brian finally let him in, but he was just sopping wet. Oh my God! I think that's what started the whole deal going to Vancouver that weekend.
Soaked. Poor Paul. I felt so sorry for him, but you did it to yourself when you got out of the vehicle. I'm sorry.
Oh boy, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my.
No, we've in the 37 years I've been pulling, I've met an awful lot of nice people, spectators. I mean, the pullers that we pull with, you couldn't ask for a better bunch of guys to hang with and do stuff with. I mean, all of them. It don't make any difference who they are. They're all a bunch of good people. We've had a great time. And every one of them, I'm sure they would share stories just like we're doing right now. And like some of the stories, you probably say, "Oh, you guys are lying," but
just a little bit.
It's just a little, but no, it's been great. It's been great. Now we got the grandkids running the micro minis, so hopefully they'll keep on going.
Yeah, I got a little story for you guys. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but Larry and I, we were joined at the hip for about 10 years running his truck, and we were sitting in his shop one night, and he goes, "Hey, we're going to Tule Lake again." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, man." And I go, "I'm not looking forward to that drive." And he's like, "Yeah, it's Friday night, but we got to get the championship, and what I want to do is turn and burn and go to Sublimity and check out Saturday night, because I heard that's a really good event up there." And I'm like, "Well, how much farther is that?" He's like, "Oh, it's another 400 miles. I'm like, so we get up, we win the championship, we load up, we drive up to Sublimity, and in the old Dodge Hauler pulling there, and you guys welcomed us with open arms, and it's been a great run since I think it's like 06 is what we decided we went up there for the first time, but It's been great meeting all of you and having all the fun over the years. And I remember when we left the fairgrounds that night, everybody took the corn cobs and like shoved them all over the hauler and the truck, and we had corn on the truck all the way back into California.
Well, I think they got we had a corn cob throwing contest down there, I think, too. And Jenny, she knocked one of Gish's taillights out on her motorhome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when Tucker's left, Jenny or somebody went over, they stuffed a corn cob up the Tucker's tailpipe. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, definitely. It's definitely been a fun ride, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, John and Jason, what's next for you guys pulling wise?
We got our club has a pull this weekend, which I'm not going to be able to make it to because I'm going to be sitting in the harvester.
Birthday
there's a
boy
club coming up. We got Tres Pinos coming up. Our club does have one in Denair. That's usually our end of the year one.
Yeah, we usually go to that one. And then there's one in Sacramento, a diesel extravaganza deal.
Yeah.
And then I heard from Mike Lewis that Ford Motor Company's bringing their new electric 4-wheel drive truck to that one, and they're gonna do a video. So they're gonna do a commercial based thing on that new electric truck. So that should be interesting.
They're actually going to pull the sled with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
yeah, there was electric rig on Saturday afternoon pulled in Sublimity.
Oh wow.
One of those Rivian.
Pulled the sled in Sublimity. I'm not up to speed on those EVs. Like starts with an A or something like that. The vehicle? No, not AMP. What was that, Jason?
Rivian.
So anyway, he pulled.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was over there. You guys were probably all just hanging out, but I just happened to be walking over there and saw this thing pull, and he was pulling in the stock class naturally, but that thing outpulled all the gassers that were there.
Did it?
Yeah, it did. He went down like 290 feet.
Huh. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's worth you're ahead of your time by putting that Tesla emblem on code 3 that time.
Hey man, as amount of batteries as you carry on that truck, you needed it.
I sure hope it doesn't snow this weekend up in Spokane or in Bonners.
Oh,
no kidding.
Well, the way those guys were walking around down in Sublimity, looking at some of the eyeballs we saw Friday night and Saturday night, it looked like they were 2 pee holes in a snowbank.
Oh, Jesus.
2 piss holes. Yeah. Figure that one out, Steve.
Yeah.
Heck, we asked you for 2 days what a 2 pee holes in a snowbank looked like.
Yeah. You couldn't produce enough snow, I'd have showed you.
Oh my God, you guys are terrible.
Oh, shoot. So,
right on.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this thing up. And Jason, we got to quick go over a couple things, and look forward to next year. This weekend, your guys at Spokane and Bonners Ferry. We'll be looking forward to some videos coming out of that, and we'll get them on the page, and definitely, keep us informed of what goes on.
Sure.
Yep.
Appreciate letting us get on here with you guys. It was a kick.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Reminiscing. There's a lot of memories, and I'm sure we get some more guys. We get a whole bunch more on there.
Really enjoyed it, guys.
I don't want to be nice to Brian and Steve, but you guys have been the best guests because of the stories and that the comments and the likes are what drive the algorithm. And this has been our best West Coast show from a viewership thing. Now I know it's our 5th or 6th show, but this has been the best. And great stories and everything like that. So thank you for that. It's so good to entertain people, guys. Thank you.
Does that mean you're going to want us back?
Well, I don't really decide. John Bohr decides who comes on the show. I just host it.
He probably doesn't want us back. He's probably scared right now,
Yeah.
actually.
No,
But
no,
if you want,
you guys are
to
pretty
see,
tame.
if you want to see
I know.
more driven stuff, Jason, Steve and I are your guys. We can give her to you. For
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, that's fun. No, you guys are worried about some of the stuff you were saying. I don't care what you say on the show. I just don't want to get anybody divorced. That's all. That's my goal. So.
Oh, well, hell, we could start this over. I got some. But
We'll only just give you a little bit, folks. We just give you a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, just tease it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, Jason.
Teaser for the next time.
Teaser.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
This is the trailer.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was fun. I'm not on.
All right.
Oh boy.
Holy.
Nope. These are the best numbers we've ever had on one of the West Coast shows, guys. So way to go. Great guess. Great guess. So
That's all.
the comments, we have hundreds of comments. Hundreds of comments.
Good. Good.
We do got to give a shout out tonight to the Duck. He's home under the weather. So he's the reason why he couldn't be on here tonight.
Daniels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said it was my turn to babysit you, John, so I had to come on.
Oh.
No, I'm glad I got back on. Sorry I missed a few shows, guys. Just been crazy at work. So.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But
Cool.
yeah, I saw Sammy's comment on there. We need a legend show. That would be a good show.
Are we still running here?
Yeah, we are. When you want me to turn it off, I'll turn it off. You guys tell me.
No, because we need to at least bring up a couple other pools that are coming up this weekend. Also here in California, we got Valley Tractor Pool Association has Hilm RFFA pool.
Yep.
Great
Great event.
Hilm RFFA. It's a good event. We usually get quite a few hooks there. It's antiques all the way to some 58s and 72s that'll show up.
They get some really good diesels over there too.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, one year we had 191 hooks.
Yeah.
Wow.
At that pool.
Probably about 2,000 people ish, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sell out on Linguisa about halfway. So that's this weekend. It's a 6 o'clock show, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I put on the West Coast page. Also, too, to try to promote. I mean, I sent out a bunch of invites today for the West Coast page to try to build it up some more.
Guys, we need to get like the Lisa Haveman or Haveman. I'm sorry if I butchered her name. We got to get some photographers on that page that will post their photos on that page. That really will get everything going. So let me know who wants to be on, and I'll add them. Okay.
And that's why I was going to talk to Gish a little bit too. I think Kelsey would be really good on there, and with the videos and pictures, just like Ashley too.
Yeah.
We go to places.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You know,
both videos all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, we're usually busy where they can, pop on there, do live or put videos on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We'll get that set up.
Just tell me who you want to have on, fellers, and we'll add them to the page. You guys are all admins. You can add them yourself, but I know a couple of you don't know how to do that, so I'll do it for you.
And then Wilcox, Arizona is the end of the month.
Is that James Phillips? That's James Phillips.
James Phillips has the unit as a pool down there. He's been telling me about it. Because I think that's the 29th and 30th. I think it is. It's one of those 2 different days. They got a big one going down there. And then I think it's the first Sunday, Jason, in October is Tres Pinos.
Yeah, over by Hollister. Yep.
Yeah. So we got a few more coming up around here, and then Brian's got the Gold State Invitational coming up, and then we got the Denair Pool. So okay, James said the 30th and the 1st. So
Very good.
So there's a few more yet to come.
Very good.
Schultz, you guys still looking at coming out in October?
Who? Oh, Schultz. Oh.
Schultz.
We need to chat about that.
Yeah.
Right on.
So
Is LMS Photography is Lisa, right? I've been sharing her stuff all over all night, Joey. So there's your shout out, big guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
She's did a lot of our
Yeah,
posts, does a lot of photography and stuff, and she does a good job. Really good job.
Yeah, she brought us some nice large
Oh, yeah.
pictures of our trucks this last event. It was freaking awesome.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
special. Really nice of them.
That's the one
Yeah.
thing that photographers, you guys, if you have a good pulling photographer, buy their photos from them because they're doing it for a hobby. They really are. The YouTubers and stuff now are making a little coin, but photographers, you need to buy their photos. So
Yep.
and give them love.
I know.
So,
Cool.
yeah, so our next show is going to be in 2 weeks. That'll be the 28th, just before the Arizona pool and stuff. So maybe we'll get something put together on that. But yeah. So, and the other thing, we'll just do a quick recap. Sublimity, Sublimity went great, except for, the Saturday night had some failures. Got to give Donnie big props. He brought Final Drive out for the first time ever and won the class. It was the first time ever in that truck. That was an excellent showing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Saturday night we went through 2 sleds and still didn't finish.
Yeah.
But they got everything fixed up now, Jason?
Yeah, I know they've got the one sled fixed, and they're getting parts coming for the other one. So yeah, all good. I know they got one sled fixed for Sunday stuff that they finished out on Sublimity. They couldn't get the second one done, but they'll get that one done this week.
Excellent.
Yep. All right, fellas.
What's that question there, John?
Oh.
I think Mayfield's asking. I said the 28th. 28th is going to be our next show, John. And
our live show.
Our next live show. And then the 30th and the 1st will be Wilcox, Arizona.
Yeah.
So.
Right on.
I talked to Jared Birchke just a little bit ago. They had the services. We lost a big sponsor in the pulling world just a couple weeks ago, Don Mayo, and they had his services while we were in Sublimity, and they took Swiss Power up there to the services, and they had him fired off for a send-off for Don. And he said he wrapped that thing off a couple times. He said he had 6,000 RPMs just wrapping that thing off just to give Don a good send-off.
That's awesome.
The Mayo family is definitely in our prayers, and he was a big part of the pulling world over here. So,
right. That's awesome.
Okay, fellers, I'm going to hit end broadcast, but don't leave so we can chat for a few, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching another edition of West Coast Truck and Tractor Pullers every other Wednesday night, live on YouTube, Facebook, all over social media. And if you see these guys at the pulls and you want to help out promoting West Coast pulling, talk to them. We're here to help, okay? Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.